Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I think that one was the hardest of the lot so far that I've done anyway. My God, just over an hour of full gas racing, 5 minutes or 5k into straight into the bottom of a 20 or so minute climb. Full gas up the climb, little descent, and just rolling and lumpy the whole way to the finish. Uh, Proper hour of power there. Really, really tough. So regarding results, little better than the last few weeks. 58th place, not too bad. 7 minutes 50 seconds down. Didn't actually read that till now. 4.3 watts per kilo, 303 watts for the whole thing. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that's peak 60-minute power that I've ever done, and I did it on a turbo, which I'm quite happy with actually, to be honest with you. All things considered. So yeah, delighted with that. Also a nice little thing that shows you kind of getting into the groove of Zwift racing, I suppose, is if you look at the people around me or you or whatever you're looking at, I'm at 4.3 watts per kilo here average, and you can see like a lot of people around are kind of 4.7, 4.4, 4.6, a couple 4.3 at the end, but if you're on the lower side of the spectrum, it kind of shows that you're using the draft feature a little bit, say, more to your advantage. And you can probably go back at the first few races and see that you're actually putting out a lot more watts than some of the more experienced people around you. The draft feature does work on Zwift, like, as much as people say it's not that effective, but you know it is at certain points of the race. So it's kind of about getting used to it and seeing how it works. And it does take a few races to get into, but it's quite interesting just to kind of cast an eye over that too. So yeah, that's pretty good for 58th place. Not bad at all. I'd say some of these results will probably be subject to subject to further ratification, we'll say, after talking to a few of the lads who are in the lead group going over the climb, and people getting dropped at 6 watts per kilo for 20 or so minutes. So we won't hold fate in some of them so far anyway. But yeah, some of the top Irish lads, 4.8, 5 watts per kilo, 4.3 watts per kilo, 2 minutes 40 in the lead. That's quite interesting actually. To see that vast difference in power, like basically same watts per kilo as me. Be interesting to see the training file and see like where the time gaps are actually pulled out. But yeah, some of the lads. Good few Irish flags in the top 15 there, quite interesting. Dar Feely, Premier Endurance, only 5.2 watts per kilo. So Feely's moving this time of year. Should be winning the race with that power. Jesus. Quite interesting, yeah. So then when we go into the actual training file, then what's what? For me anyway, it's pretty similar to last time. My plan was to just try stay in the front group at the steepest part of the climb, and then find my way into a group of some similar matching ability level anyway over the climb. Hopefully that was the plan. So let's see, did it work out? So I'd 5 minutes 37 seconds to do 4.7k, which brought us into the base of the climb. That was at 5 minutes at 346 watts, 172 revs, 50 k's an hour, or 172 heart rate, 92 revs, 50 k's an hour, 5 watts per kilo. And you know, it was pretty flat, to be quite honest with you. So speed was up, and it was quite difficult. But yeah, I held position all right. I think I hit the front steep part in the lead group, and then we quickly learned where I was in the grander scheme of things. So that steep part was about 500 or so meters at 6 and a bit percent. 370 watts, 180 beats a minute, 80 revs. Yeah, quite hard. 5.3, 5.4 watts per kilo, so well up there for me into like well above VO2 max range power, or in around it anyway. So not kind of how you want to be starting the climb, but the rest of the climb was like slightly less steep, we'll call it. So the drafting function I thought might be a little bit more beneficial. So I might work going a little bit deeper over that. So regarding the climb itself, up until the part where it starts to get a little bit rolly, nice, steady, consistent power output. 320 watts, 176 beats a minute. Just under 1200 VAM, 4.6 watts per kilo. Quite decent actually. For me, 26 k's an hour uphill, 4%, 4.5%. So yeah, quite decent then. So then it gets rolly, and it's kind of interesting in how you actually deal with a rolly section on Zwift like this. Like, do you freewheel the descents and then power up the inclines, or do you actually just kind of hold a constant power output? I more so freewheel-ish the descents, and then you can see the power spikes on each little rise as well. Did it work? Probably not, to be honest, because I found myself for this part, the last little drag up to the line for those who are racing, I found myself playing catch up. Now, thankfully, I actually caught on to the group, but that was 2 minutes at kind of 350-ish watts that I didn't really want to do. Going over the top, I was absolutely swinging. So caught the group, went through the group. Quick tip on Zwift: don't, like in the real world, sometimes when you catch the group you can sit up trying to take your breath. That's not really what you want to do on Zwift, because you just get dispatched straight away. The descent itself then was fairly rapid. You can see like periods of time there, like in the last video I was saying, you can kind of talk and stay in with the group, and then you just need to pick up the pace. Like, it kind of comes to little kickers on the group, so you can just see like picking up the pace at kind of 340 watts, 530 watts for kind of 30 seconds. Same thing again around 400 watts. So just maintaining your position in the group. Really important to hang on to the group, all things considered, because it does make a big difference in terms of your speed out on the road. So once we got off the descent, then we kind of calmed down a bit. Like I was saying last time, there's always like a really hard start, and then you find a group of similar ability levels. So you can see the whole part in the middle there was pretty like bang on 300 watts. Variability index of just 1 pretty much, which means that like the variability of the power output was not high at all. So it'd be similar to something you'd see in like a flat TT. And that suited me quite a lot actually. I was quite happy with that. It allowed me to just catch my breath nearly as much as you can at that kind of power, relative to what I can produce. So then got a run into the line. Pretty similar again, to be honest with you. It was nearly like after the actual climb itself, it was nearly just like a 30 something minute TT. So you can see at 297 watts, 302 normalized, 87 revs a minute, 170 BPM, so slightly 10 beats or so less than the heart rate side of things, so I was going up the climb. So yeah, so not much to report there, just trying to stay in the group as much as I can. So just for the actual benefit. So regarding the actual sprint to the line, I remember last week I said I wasn't very good at sprinting. I take it all back, lads. I unleashed a magnificent sprint here. You can actually see 950 or so watts. What's the peak? 1008 watts on the turbo trainer. Not bad. 13 seconds at just under 13 watts per kilo. Sprinting on a turbo is so difficult because you've no side-to-side movement on the bike, but is nearly a skill in itself. And I think it came like, where did I come in the sprint out of my group? 750, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or so in the sprint out of my group, so not too bad. About a 200 bit meter, 220 meter sprint. So yeah, happy enough with that. Regarding the file as a whole, then, and some of the peak power outputs. 302 watts, 317 normalized for an hour 5 minutes. You can actually see intensity factor there of 110%. The last critical power test I did in lactate profile, it would have been in around January, and my threshold came out around 280. Well, it's 280 to 290 watts, we'll say, depending on what one you go with. So yeah, threshold's probably bumped 10 watts in the last few months, which I'm quite happy with. Must update my old zones on Training Peaks to get the metrics working as they should. just to see what's what. But yeah, really intense one. So 302 watts, 317 watts, 170 beats a minute, 83 RPM, 39.8 k's an hour over a lumpy enough circuit. So moving along fairly swiftly there. Regarding power peaks, then I hit my all-time 1 minute power, or sorry, all-time 1 hour power. So the last time I got close to that would have been in 2017, I'd say. Now, taking for granted the normalized power for some of the races and such probably would have been higher, some of the road races the last few years, but actually just in terms of putting an hour gas through the pedals, haven't done that in a long time. Like this Greenmount CC League was just like an oval circuit where you're just on the gas the whole time, and then literally a Zwift race back in January 2019 where I did something similar, and the rest of them were kind of flatter road races and kermesses and stuff like that. So happy enough with that, like a meaningful enough improvement there too. And this is all at 70 kilo body weight. So what's that? 4.36 ish watts per kilo. It's decent enough. Second best all time 20-minute power too. So you can actually see last week I'm 3-4 watts higher than last week, which is obviously from the test itself as well. Probably similar comments in terms of that 20-minute flat out effort last time as well, in terms of not actually doing them. But that came at the very start of the race too, like the last few weeks as well. Same with the peak 10-minute power, most likely same with the peak 5-minute power as well, about midway through the very start of the race. So drawn on the same conclusion, and it's that they're really depleting at the start, and then you settle into some sort of a rhythm, hopefully, if you can get it. Yeah, so proper tough one. Tough circuit too. So let's see what they have in store for next week.